they better be able to hear us soon. I don't want to repeat the.
Dude, we're doing the counting right now. Right, that should be it. So,
Yes.
welcome to Cloudwork. Today is we have a guest this week, and with us today we have, like normal, my two co-hosts working on it,
Hi.
and otherwise known as Barbs, and then Znef, that otherwise known as Benjamin, and then
Snap.
how would I pronounce your
Yeah, but hi, darling.
and our special guest this week is NDGO. She's the creator of a webcomic series called Jamie, and does I'm sure other projects too. But what I know her from, and today is gonna be that podcast. How's everyone doing this morning?
Well, it's evening, almost night for me. So yeah, but it's going quite well.
It's about noon, and I feel like I just woke up from like the shortest sleep.
Same. I slept until like almost 10. Really weird dream, but I can't quite remember it now.
Okay.
But it was very strange. I've been watching a lot of horror stuff lately, so I think it like had something to do with that.
That's not helping
That'll
with
do
your
it.
dreams. Well, I'm a bit in pain, but that's logical.
Oh yeah, because
Tatao.
Yes.
Yes.
I've got a
I
tattoo.
have no idea what a tattoo feels like because I'm too afraid to even try.
A tattoo can be a bit painful, and the one that I have now on my left arm was a bit painful, but I usually compare it to like an electric toothbrush. If you put the head of the electric toothbrush off and you put that along your skin, that's a bit how it feels like.
Yeah, but a electric toothbrush doesn't pierce the skin.
Stab you continuously.
No, but it's the same kind of
exactly.
vibration that you have on your skin.
Yeah, but I tattoo myself constantly just because I like the vibration.
I have a friend named I have a friend named Jeff, not like the one that did our music, but who got a tattoo on his hand of our state, our area code.
Okay.
He decided a pot leaf on his hand, and it's like in color too.
Yeah.
And like he said it really hurt, and a lot of us, like, I think it's a cool tattoo, but don't like where he put it, just because it's kind of hard to get a job when you have a tattoo on your hand.
Yeah, you cannot really hide it either. No.
Yeah,
People who get those kind of tattoos.
Like if I would, okay, like I would probably never really get a tattoo, but if I just wanted to do, if I was forced to do something stupid and fun, I would probably just do daft hands.
Okay.
For me, like, tattoos or something, like, if I choose to get one, which I probably won't end up doing, but if I do, it's going to be something that means something to me, something that, like, I don't mind having on my body. Because I know some people just get stuff because they're like, oh, it's a cool idea. But, like, maybe years down the line, you're just like, this isn't as cool as I thought it was now.
True.
But for me, it's got to be something that...
it's like the classical one. Your loved one, partner, something like that. A pet.
I don't think I want to put any names or faces on my body. I'd probably just do like astrological, like geographic shapes.
Makes sense.
Or
not a pet
stuff. No.
No, you don't like pets. What's wrong with you?
I love my pet, but I would never tattoo her face on.
No, you know what the problem is?
No, it doesn't have to be a face. It could just be her, the paw print and the name beneath it.
Yeah, but names, well, maybe your pets and your kids are not a problem, but of your loved
Mhm.
ones can be a problem, especially if you're not if your relationship is about to end. So
Mhm.
names are
Right.
not a good thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've seen a lot of pictures of people who like get like a name of their loved one and then it's crossed out and then
Yes.
the new one and then that one
Oh.
crossed out and then another one. And it's like, boy, after the after the second one, I think you need to stop
I
Yeah.
think that that's the
crosses.
sign of someone who
Yeah,
just
like what was it again? That there was this stupid commercial. I remember where it was like a guy getting his girlfriend's name tattooed on his arm, then immediately breaks up with him. He goes speed dating, and then he finds a girl with the same name
that sound really
as
good about me.
her ex. And the thing is that she has a tattoo on her arm that is his name.
Ah.
And
Ooh, Black Mirror.
It's so cringy. I can't remember if it was a speed dating site or like a Specsavers ad. I don't know.
some kind of I was about to ask what ad was that?
Yeah, it was something stupid.
Yeah, but like certain like there's certain things I understand, like astrological signs I actually do get because a lot of people are really into those.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like that's something that like I totally understand people getting. If for tattoos, what I seem to get from people is to always make sure they're in a place that like you can hide it unless you want to get a sleeve, just because like it's easier on you that way. Little brother's dad has a Calvin and Hobbes on his like calf.
Okay.
That's actually a really cool one I get because like those are
Yeah.
like two really cool characters that he like loved as a kid. So like it made sense
I
why he
could
got
see
it.
a character before I could put a real person on my body. I don't know, and I'm sorry. I think I said astrology when I meant astronomy.
Oh, astronomy.
So like literal like constellations or the solar system, but in a really cool geometric way or something. So
See
it
this
just
right
lets you know,
here?
like, yeah.
The Big Dipper.
Ah, nice one.
Nah.
One thing that I would love to do if I ever had children that I could name is name them after astronomical like bodies and then get those things tattooed on me. So
Okay.
if
Oh.
I named my kid Cassiopeia, then I would get that constellation on me.
Oh, that would be
versus
nice.
What
Yeah.
kind of a name is that?
That's a nice
Cassie.
name. I like
I like
it.
that name.
I mean, there's people out there named Paige, Gunner, Trent. Like, come on.
Fucking Trent. What is up with
Those
you?
are actual names.
They are
Dog guy
awful
named Trent.
names. I know someone named Fantasy Puff. I mean, come on.
Oh wow.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is. I love that name. Like I actually, since I was a kid, I always thought like if I ever did have kids or when people have kids, they should name them something unique, just because like it's something that like interesting to right like because people run into people with the same name all the time, but if you have like a unique name, it's a little harder to have another kid in a school with your name.
Ah,
You
Oh
know?
yeah, I had
No,
that
I don't.
once. I had that once, yeah, and my name's Benjamin, so yeah, that doesn't happen often.
There's actually I've met a couple Benjamins in my school.
And the thing is that, like, the Benjamin in my class that was through, what was it, yeah, through 7th to 9th grade. But the thing is that he was, like, of course, the one more acquainted with everybody. So what I went by was just my last name.
Mm.
And
Makes
because
sense.
it's douche, sometimes I was called a douchebag, sometimes I was called.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Embrace
yeah.
it. I know someone with the last name Butt, and I didn't know that she wasn't joking, so I giggled, but not at her. I just was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's cute." And she goes, "That's my real last name." And I'm like, I don't know what to say.
No.
So do you look at them and put your arm on their shoulder and go, "I'm sorry for your school experience."
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still like, one time, I was with my friends, and like their house next to them has been like on sale forever. But I went to go see what the names of the people who who are dealing with the house, and their last name was spelled Cumming.
No.
It's like, I'm so sorry.
Oh! Wait, why did you have to spell that out and not
Because
say
it's
it?
a dirty word. Come on.
Well, it's like I could have said it out loud, but like it's more. I personally think it's more funny to spell it and then have people come to their own.
Yes.
Uh-huh,
True.
yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
Still,
like, you dirty pig.
Well,
like I was just like, man, that must have been real unfortunate. See, like
Hey,
with
they
my,
embraced it and they made the best out.
I know they're realtors. I mean, that's a pretty good job.
yeah. Yeah.
My name though is my first name Darren is like so unique that like at least in the area I live, where like I've only met like a couple other people named Darren in my life, and like only one other one in school, but his has an I in it, and mine does not. Mine is
Okay.
the British spelling.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
My last name
Of
has
what?
well, the British spelling of Darren is Darren, where most people it's Darrin.
Ah yeah.
So I'm actually familiar with the way that you spell it.
And then my last name though is Cracknell, and people like to when people ask how to spell it, my mom once was just like, it's like crack like the drug, and then
No, because you don't do it.
yeah, it's so that's
And-
really
Yeah, I've never really had a problem of people having the same last name as me. Mainly because mine is Hungarian.
Ah yeah.
And the thing is, like, it has always been because it's douche, but it's spelled Duzs. So,
Yeah.
so if somebody has just heard it and wanted to write it down, they can never do it. And like when I'm supposed to be called for the doctors or something like that, they never get it. Thus, Benjamin Duz.
that's how many people misspell or mispronounce my last name for some reason, even though like I don't understand how people mispronounce it. But yeah, people
Well, I think they mispronounce it because they think, oh no, it cannot be correct. No, it cannot be.
Right.
The same with I have a character in my project called Mr. DeGay. Benjamin is voicing him, by the way. Benjamin will be voicing
Nice.
him.
Yeah.
And I purposely called him Mr. DeGay because at first
Dagay.
Yes. Because it's a word joke. It's a joke on words, and I'm planning to make it a running gag.
No. He was named before I got the role.
Yes.
But yeah, it's fitting.
It's really fitting.
That's awesome. Yeah, but yeah, I was watching your podcast the other day of you. Story, your animatic, and like, what made you, by the way, work real quick, what made you decide to do like animation instead of just like, or like something like that?
Ooh, well, the whole project was made because of a dream. Ooh, yeah, it goes back 2.5 years ago, where I had a dream about a song. So I decided to write down the song, which is now So Selfish, is one of the songs in the first chapter. And then I wanted to get characters, and I was like, okay, let's draw the characters. And then I was like, it would be so awesome if I could see them move and interact and do all kind of stuff. And then I went wild and said, oh, why not make it a 14 chapter animated musical series?
Ambitious. I like.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, you're
And we love you for it, darling.
Thank you.
you like I was watching it and you do really well on movement. Like it feels really smooth to me. Um, didn't you say you're doing it all rough kind of right now, so you can go back later and
Yes.
just like redo it a little better? Is awesome. It's kind of cool to me to see like or in the middle of being made product and then seeing it be done
Mm-hmm.
is always a lot of fun to me. Uh, why I like doing this podcast now. So like doing other video projects is that I've done. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the editing is a lot of fun to me. Just seeing unfinished stuff and then like getting it done
Mm-hmm.
is why which was kind of cool to have to actually edit an episode of this podcast the other day, getting rid of the first like I think it was 12 minutes of silence and then like thankfully YouTube has just like an editing thing now, so I don't even have to like download an editing software.
Okay.
Wait, so you can finally do this, the first, edit the first thing, the first episode.
With you in it, I probably could, but I don't even
Yes.
know if we have that episode anymore. I could probably find
I
it.
think we do. It's like go way back. Uh,
I don't know. It'd just be kind of weird though for just timeline reasons to do that. I like to think that the episodes
it's a
that
very
don't make it.
informative episode. Like I dropped a lot of things there, but it does also.
I also like
it is also quite apparent that I weren't really that used to this kind of form of communication. It was the first time, but yeah, again, a lot of stuff is dropped in that.
I like to think that that episode, in the episodes that don't make it onto onto the YouTube channel, most of them do, but there's like one or two I can think of that didn't. Just episodes that like are special to the people who did come see them live, and like so there's a little kind of like those people who have seen those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the thing that was dropped in that episode is like stuff I probably want people to know about because like,
well then I can figure something out. Then I can make like a supercut of it or something, and like and put it up. I can do that.
yeah, good boy. But everybody, am I the only one that feels like we have been missing something here? Oh yeah, Indigo. Oh yeah, we
I've just been
totally
listening.
forgot that this was about you and not us.
Sorry, I
I've
was
just
just
been
having
enjoying
fun.
the banter.
Yes, we are good friends here. Yeah.
You can always
okay,
listen
so-
to our
I
banter
mean, I
every
usually just
Saturday.
listen to podcasts anyway, so this was kind of what I already do.
Okay.
So instead of
enough.
listening to a podcast, you're inside a podcast. The dream.
All right, so we said we've talked about some questions that we're gonna do. I'm gonna pull them because from the top of my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're gonna do a little thing here.
I will do my best to be clear.
Now you'll be wonderful, darling.
Let me find out where I put them. How?
I remember you
I am-
sent them to me in DM on Discord.
Yeah, I'm looking through our DMs right now.
Should be the very first message.
Oh yeah. So my first question: you decided to remake Jamie. For people who don't know, there actually is a different. There was an older version that she did that was not super far into the story, but like as far as I could tell, but kind of far. And then she decided to redo it. So how come you decided to just scrap what you were working with and like redo it?
Okay, so I did answer this in the artist comments, but um a lot of people don't know those exist. But I started making the first version right out of high school, and I had a friend who was helping me with the writing. I was not the writer, I was the artist.
Oh,
So eventually they just didn't want anything to do with it anymore, and they were
Mm.
going through their own stuff, so they ollied out. And then I was like, oh, well, good thing that this has built an audience already. So now I'm kind of obligated to continue. And I wanted the story to continue, but I had to learn how to write what was in her head. And it was kind of rough. So only about like, 6 episodes or 6 chapters in did it start to have breathe a life. And I
Okay.
was actually happy with it. Um, and then I looked back and I was like, all these other episodes, they're just like for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it just did not click with what I had in my mind for the future. So I didn't want to redo it, and a lot of people think I redid it for art, but no. Like your art is always gonna develop, so you really can never catch up with yourself.
True.
So I just had to redo it. I have little written things. I don't know. Oh yeah. But mostly like I had points in the story that were gonna happen that would contradict what was said or done in the beginning. And the characters had changed so drastically. Aiden has gone through so many different types of character
Yes.
like structures. And only now do I feel like this is the person he was supposed to be from the start.
Okay.
And then yeah, so I mean it was literally all just because it was so inconsistent with my vision that I had to just bite the bullet and do all the hard work over again. I didn't want to, but it had to happen because I want to give readers a project that I'm proud of, and also something that they can look at and go, that was worth my time.
Yes, it's difficult to continue something that you're not happy with in terms of storyline. Anyway.
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
like at first when I was reading the original Jamie and like I saw your post you made about it, at first I thought, oh, you're just like the first pages. I was a little confused. I do usually read authors' comments, but I get confused easily. But then like once I noticed like that you were just going through it, I decided to check it out, and it was mostly new. It was new stuff, and it was like written differently, and the artwork was a little better. Uh, and like I was like, oh, it's just we're just redoing this, okay. And I really enjoy that. I actually really do enjoy the new version because the characters to me feel a little bit more, and like I can like tell different characters trait and like personality more than I could before.
Mm-hmm.
And like we
Thank
actually
you.
haven't heard heard a lot from Aiden in far, and so I'm excited to get more with him.
Oh yeah, there something I don't like to admit is that like again I'm not a writer, so when I came up with the title I don't know what to call this. I'm gonna call it Jamie because
Mm-hmm.
his name is Jamie. And and it was mostly from his perspective, but
Yeah.
the more I wrote it, the more I was like, oh no, this is becoming like Boy Meets World, everyone is the main character. And so now the reason like I've kind of decided, oh, I'm gonna keep it Jamie is because Jamie is the common denominator, like he's the most common denominator in everyone's life. Like if he didn't come into the story, into their friend group, then a lot of things that are gonna happen in the story would never have happened. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, a lot of the characters arcs would have never been kicked off. And so we do get to see a lot more Eden later, because he turns out to be a lot more important to his own story than he would have thought.
Aw.
I'm very excited. Amy, like is one of the most adorable characters I've ever like read.
Yeah.
Mostly just like, and I've read a lot of BL stories and stuff.
Of course.
I don't know why. Just that little cinnamon roll is the best thing.
Thank you. Oh, that means a lot
To me, it's like how consistently like shy like he is, and how like some characters will be shy for a minute, and then like later you'll be like, wait a minute, wasn't this character shy like 3 pages ago, and is now doing this like different thing?
He's
Uh,
definitely a mess. Like he's shy, but he definitely tries to get out of his own comfort zone a lot. And so I mean, like when he was introduced to Aiden's friends, like he was definitely shy, but as soon as Spinelli hugged him, he was just like, okay, I can do this. I can talk.
My favorite was recently with the like treats that they brought.
Oh yeah, his heavy
Oh
breathing.
yeah. Hey, yes.
And then just like Aiden like dropping his, and then him just being like, "You can have mine." I mean, you can
And the
have mine.
little
if you
voice break. Oh god. It just
Mm.
he was just like, you can have. Oh god.
Yeah. Ah.
And Aiden
So-
is a dense little star boy. He doesn't get it. He doesn't even think that someone could like him.
Him and his sister have a really good relationship. They've had one since original Jamie. Like there was a different direction you guys had with originally the sister. Is that like any like how you guys like hinted at it was going before, or is the sister like the direction that you guys planned on?
Vicky? Jamie?
Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I
Yes,
can hear you.
we can hear
Okay,
you.
so are
He
you
was
also-
asking about Jamie's sister. Yes.
Right.
Did I
And what do you mean, like, what plan?
like? I feel like I think I remember reading in the original Jamie in like author's notes, because I do read those. Was that like or you guys had with the original one? People were asking about like Jamie's sister's sexuality and like and what was going on with that. And like I think originally she was going to be asexual, but I was just wondering if like it's the same, or if like
Oh
you
yeah,
have a new
it
idea.
is. She just likes people. Like so when she met Penn, she was just like it's a platonic crush.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're just like, what a fantastic person. I'm gonna marry them. So I don't think the tone was picked up properly by readers, but she's just a silly kid, you know what I mean? So she's just like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
marry.
Actually,
then
yeah,
later-
from that line, I thought she was gay.
Well, I mean, she's just, it's like, okay, if you have like two dude bros that are like, man, you're my best friend. I'd kiss you if it wasn't gay. You know, it's stupid. But, like,
Oh,
they
we
say
don't do
shoot
gay
first
jokes here.
started in the US. But like that, it's just comfort in her existence. And as you saw, like later when Penn is like, hey, here are the pronouns they prefer. Then Vicky's just like, you know what? I just want to like be just like them. Like I don't even care. I just want Penn in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an admiration, like a senpai thing. You know what I mean?
Ah, yes.
Feel
There we go.
I was just curious, just because.
Yeah,
Or that
no
was
worries.
big.
I don't mind. I do see Vicky is Ace. She went through in my mind Ace Arrow, but then I was like, no, I definitely think that like she's capable of having like a romantic relationship in the future. But I mean, they're all kids, so their identities, everything is pretty fluid. You know, they're
True.
learning who they are.
Like kids in like the seemingly high school, they are always subject to change, because that's a
Exactly.
very like that's the time in your life that's like forms you kind of
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
not
and-
fully, but like helps shape to be.
Oh
mean,
yes,
I
oh
went
yes, I
from,
can
like, there's-
I can
Sorry.
really much attest to that theory.
Right. I mean, when I was in middle school, I was like, there's no way I could even possibly be gay. And then my one friend was like, I'm bi. And I went, you know what? Maybe I might be bi too. And now I'm freaking agender, demisexual in a relationship with a cisgender woman for 10 years. You know, like, you never know where
Oh,
you're going to end
lovely.
up. Yay, thank you.
It's a very yeah, it's a very interesting time. As I have told this story on the stream before, but I myself was just like thought I was straight, and then I thought I was bi, and then and now I'm just like a pansexual person who just is just like, hey, people are cool.
Right, exactly. And that's, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, like, people have even asked me, like, why don't you put their pronouns and why don't you put their sexualities? I'm like, because they're in high school. They don't have it's solid things, and if I put a label on it, then I'm restricting them the ability to grow. And while I understand people want to identify and they want to relate to the characters, I'm like, that's not the point of this story. This is a
Wait.
coming of age story that happens to be about people
Wait.
who are learning who they are, you know?
You think just making their gender identities and sexuality solid is gonna prevent them from growing?
No, I
Because
just feel like what I mean is that readers definitely take what you say seriously. So if I go and say very strictly Jamie is gay, then then it's gonna run it. Or let's use the example that Vicky is ace, right? Then people get on me or they get confused when Vicky says stuff like, "Oh, I want a wife pen." Obviously that's just her being silly and her having affection for this person, and then just talking. But people are going to be like, "Well, I don't understand. I thought you said that she was ace. Why is she making these kind of comments?"
So it's also a tool for you to like to if you decide to take a character in a certain direction that wasn't entirely planned from the beginning, then like it doesn't seem as can feel free to do that instead of like being like, oh, but I already said this for sure.
Right. And I just want to avoid retconning because it seems I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything that I do is intentional, even though I'm growing with the characters and they're growing. I don't want people to feel like I'm just doing things for the sake of being able to point at the character and be like, look at them, they're this blank,
And
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen like the comments of Tapas and other like sometimes people get confused over small things in story, especially stories that go on for a bit, like Seafoam Diaries or like stuff like that. Like if a story is going on, and like sometimes there are like contradictions, and people notice.
Right.
People will
Yeah.
just like in film.
Yeah,
all
it's
the
really rough to
things.
do all of it myself too. It's really rewarding to do the art, the writing, communicating with the fans, and advertising and sleeping.
Yes, it's also very important.
I mean, I often run into the point, since I'm not a skilled writer, I will sometimes forget entirely what I have written and what's been in my head and what I've already told readers and what hasn't been established. So that'll happen to where like I cover something in the story and I forget that it has never been touched on. Oh gosh, it's really stressful, and I don't want to I don't want to retcon and be like, hey, I'm fixing something because I'm incompetent.
Hey, so I suck and I forgot this was.
Actually, like, okay, I hate because you told us you didn't want to be put on the spot. I've noticed you don't really put a lot of thought bubbles.
Oh yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know
because
about that.
yeah, that's a very useful tool for no, what's it called? For internal dialogue between a person. Just
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I do some, but I don't like to get up in every character's head because that's not reality. We can't tell. I don't know exactly what perspective it means, like when you're telling a story first person or third person or whatever, but like you don't know everyone's thoughts, and I don't know. Maybe I can probably utilize that a little bit more in the future. I'll give it a
do like
try,
to
but
I
it
do like to
doesn't. I don't want to take shortcuts, I guess.
If
do
I
feel like the way Jamie is written is more like kind of like a the perspective of someone like watching a show is, where it's just like we can't tell exactly what's going on all the time. I mean, sometimes in shows and movies they'll do internal like often, and like that's
Yeah.
how Jamie is. Like sometimes you'll get like Jamie usually just thinking in his head that something is adorable normally, and then that's pretty much it though. Like expression and like saying nothing is also really good. Showing and not telling is also really good to do,
Mhm.
and Jamie does a lot of that.
If I can
Yeah, and that's
interlude for a
I
moment.
really do like doing showing and oh, sorry, go ahead.
No worries, Annika. There is someone in the chat, Roasting Tomatoes, who really likes your artwork. So I just want to say that if you're not watching the stream, that Roasting
Shit.
Tomatoes is really
Tomatoes
liking.
is in there.
Hello, thank you.
Hello, you are a friend from a different stream. I posted our stream and a mutual streamer's. He is from that, and hello, how's it going, friendo?
Howdy doody.
Uh,
Yeah, hi.
But what was it? I was trying to answer before I forget. But yes, I completely agree. It's definitely more like a TV show where you'll sometimes hear what's going on in the character's head, but it really isn't telling you. These are my feelings in this exact moment. You big dummy, Aiden. Why don't you just
There are
listen to me?
some shit shows who do internal dialogue.
Well, if you just said it's a shit show, I don't think I want to fall in that category.
True.
Yeah, no, but a lot of sitcoms do that thing where they just put an echo voice on and they are just like thinking but talking inside their head and just like,
Right.
oh, this is such.
And sometimes that's accurate. I mean, not accurate, but appropriate. Like especially with Jamie, often where he's just like where he was watching Aiden sit down next to him, and he was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna pass out right now if he sits down. I'm in love. Oh my god!" And that's because it
Oh
doesn't
wait,
add
yeah,
to
that's like the one of the only moments where they act where you actually use kind of thought bubbles.
Hey, and I don't find it necessary all the time. A lot of the times you can see exactly what the character is thinking on their face.
and
And I think that's actually really good because especially when it comes to drawing, especially when it comes to anything that has a face, expression says 1,000 times more than words. It's very important to have the expression right, and you don't need to have so many words. Action speaks louder than words, in a way.
Especially when I'm not a good writer.
But you know,
I
but
think,
you
I
know
think
what you're going
Jamie's
through.
well written. I like Jamie, so
Thank you. I just have noticed that when I
Stuff?
put more words, it sometimes doesn't come across as clear. So, does that make sense? Like the more words I use, honestly, the more mess it becomes.
Yes, it is a
My
common
favorite
thing.
webcomic. Why are you doing that?
I'm sorry, what?
I was making a joke like, man, you're just ruining my favorite webcomic. God, why are you doing this? Oh, but like, I totally get wanting to do that way, just because a lot more sense for a webcomic.
Right. Sorry, I like lost my train of thought for a second because my cat was doing something.
Anyways, so I will ask the next question here in a second. I just want to up the stream myself because I've been just at all, and
In the meantime, thank
I
you, Roasting
won't go.
Tomatoes, for following the podcast, following our Twitch. It's great that it's going good with you. I hope you're enjoying the current podcast right now.
Oh, Yeah.
Oh, why did I open that? Why am I so unorganized here? Send help. Send.
No worries, no worries.
Send help.
I'm sending
Um.
virtual help.
Anyway, already covered the second question. But
The second
what's the
question
most
was
fun to draw?
oh, I'm sorry. What?
Character is the most fun for you to draw?
Oh, which character?
Oh, got you. Well, people probably aren't gonna like that. I love Vivian, and I love drawing her, and her snarky expressions and her
Ah,
beautiful
I
cat eye makeup. Oh,
my personal thing on her, I think she's kind of.
yeah, I mean she's the antagonist, so
Yes.
Wait, what is she?
Yes.
I mean obvious.
It was obvious to me. I love
No,
to
it's not
hate her,
really
basically.
obvious. Just that in the group.
I mean, okay, so with the classic roles of like antagonist and protagonist, it's like Jamie is the protag and the only person that seems to be giving him flack is Vivian.
Yes.
Even though she's honestly one of the main people pushing their relationship forward. Like it's hilarious how like people
Yeah,
he's
but
holding
like,
them back, and I'm like, really? Because she's the one that inceptioned the idea that Jamie likes him into Aiden's head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah,
like
but like, how can she? She's not really an antagonist in the sense that she is like more or less the main obstacle, the main baddie. She's just the one that is kind of like, yeah, messing stuff up, kind of.
In the real world, there's no one's really an antagonist. Like
No.
in the real world, like you just have people that you might not agree with, and you might not want to see that day.
There is something called history. There are plenty of people that are straight up
No. I'm talking
antagonists
about
there.
on a small scale with individuals. Like the biggest antagonist someone might have in high school is their bully or their teacher.
True.
It's not about this person who is going out of their way to make your life miserable and to end the world.
I swear, Mr. McGonagall has it in for me. You need to wash my back, man.
I think Vivian does like them at least a little bit because she did eat the free food that was given her.
She ate that cookie. She fought her boyfriend for that cookie.
Yeah, so like, I think like it's more like it always seemed like it's like when you're higher up in high school when you're a senior or a sophomore or a junior, and then a freshman is coming over. It's like there's that eternal moment of us like, if I really want to hang out with a freshman.
And on top of that, it's even. I mean, I don't want to sit here and do the end of the episode of Game of Thrones. Let me water down everything for you so you can understand. But like, I mean, it's clear that she is very protective of her friends. Her friends are patient with her, but okay, everyone's like, why are they patient with her? Well, I mean, think about it. Why would you be patient with someone who has an attitude like this? You obviously care about them. And in the real world, sometimes we're patient with people who don't deserve it, and sometimes those people do deserve it. They just don't know how to deal with their attitude, or they don't know how to change.
And
she's a character just like all of them.
yes.
And she's gonna go through her arcs, and she has her flaws, and I love her for it because she, to me, feels the most real out of all of them.
And you only see moments. That's the thing. You only see a couple of moments. You don't see her whole personality.
Exactly. I really appreciate that you said that, because one of the main things that I was dealing with when writing the story is, I don't want people to think that I'm just throwing her under the bus at all. It's just that sometimes you don't get to see people's high points. Sometimes they don't show that part of them to certain people. And honestly, we don't know how she behaved before Jamie came along and brought this out of her, and we won't know that for a while. It's only been a few dozen episodes or pages. So we'll get to see further how they develop. But I definitely find it interesting how people will watch a show like My Hero Academy and just be like, I hate Bakugo, but then with a character like Vivian, they just like throw her in the trash.
Yeah.
I'm like, she has more
He's the
reason to be
mean one.
snarky, like than a character like Bakugo who just seems needlessly mean, at least from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So I hope that people give her a chance. That's all.
when she's like we've seen her with not around Jamie, and that does help. With like, we've seen her with the guys at the and like me being there, and like knowing that, like it seems to me like she wouldn't be with somebody like that if like she was all rude all the time. No, 7, you know.
I
We're
mean,
just
she's definitely not as mean as she was in the first version, which, like, you guys didn't see it, but, with how I planned the rest of the story, it's just like, yeah, she's just the antagonist. She's just like a Disney villain. She just mean.
she
And I then gave her more depth. Like, I don't know.
She would
Yeah,
constantly say, "You fools!"
um,
You fools! You've got right in tonight.
the first comic, by the way, I'm very excited to see more of the mom because in the first like in iteration of Jamie, she was great. So I'm very excited to see more of her.
Speaking of the mom, I have another question. It's unplanned, but it's quite trivial, so I hope that you can be able to answer this. Is Jamie and/or Vicky adopted?
Jamie is her biological child. Vicky is adopted.
Yeah, because like again, the mother is blonde and blue-eyed, and both and Jamie is brown-haired and blue-eyed, and then Vicky is slightly more dark-skinned, brown eyes and black hair. So
Right,
yeah.
right. No, well, I mean, blonde hair isn't that the recessive gene? So I mean, it would be more likely that she passed it down like a dominant gene, like brown hair, anyway. However, we also don't see her his father. You know what I mean? Like he's absent, so we don't know what he looks
Yeah, I
like.
was maybe thinking that she's like a lone mother that for some reason got 2 babies by IVF.
I mean, it can be. However, I don't really know if I'm ever gonna touch on what happened to Jamie's father because he's just so unimportant to the story. So I mean, if people want to project that like they're both adopted, if they want to project that this and that, whatever they want, it doesn't change the fact that their relationship is what it is.
And because like the original comic, like I'm the new one, but the original comic left off in a place that was like what people have been kind of waiting for a little bit, and I was just and with the new direction with the characters is honestly feels more like. I know like you're not really a writer, you're just as. But honestly, the writing you've done for Jamie, like in the new one, has been really good.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot because, oh my gosh, every time I post a page, I'm like, people like it.
People will flame me.
Like I used to read it on the website. Actually, that's where I used to read Jamie. I do it on Tapas now just because Tapas is more convenient. But like, I used to read it on the website. It used to update every Friday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Does it still update every Friday? What is the upload schedule?
Yeah, the schedule is every Friday at 11. I think it's 11 a.m. Pacific time. And whenever I can, I try to fit a second update within the week. Like there was a little span of like 2 months where I posted twice a week, and like I was like, yeah, awesome, the story's going somewhere. And then I looked at my buffer and I went, girl, you need to slow down. You're gonna run out of buffer. And so we went back to 1 page a week until I can make pages faster than they come out. Then we're just gonna stay at 1 page a week. But
Friends, Castle Crossing for coming on. my streamer friends since I started back like over a year ago, and I came across them one time when they were playing Mario Sunshine.
Oh, lovely.
Good
Uh,
game.
we've been friends for a while actually. They're the one people that I actually like personally and know at least a little bit.
Hmm.
So check if anyone watching the stream likes gaming stuff, check them out.
Shout out.
Ooh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I like
No,
to
it's
help out
fine. I don't mind.
my friends.
Hello.
Oh, Pixelated Heroes playing section. Um, but
Hmm.
I very much have been enjoying the new stuff. And let's see what. Um, moving on to uh, like, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. Uh, is what made you want to do a webcomic? Like, what started? How did this all start?
So I guess it's in the very different direction of as Barb, because I was like, wow, I want to tell stories, but oh my god, animation is way too much work for one person.
It is.
Um,
Oh my.
I was I did go to college in hopes that I could become an animator, and I love seeing the characters in movement. Like it just feels like they're so alive, and then I cry, and then I'm like, that's my baby.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, I want to one day finish something, and I don't believe I can do that. And also, since I don't feel like I'm not going to continue like bombing on myself as a writer, but like I cannot build scenes and worlds as vividly with words as I can with art. So
Mhm.
that kind of took writing books out of the equation. Couldn't
Mhm.
do animation. And
Mhm.
then I was really inspired by artists like Mickey Quinn and Nicole Menino, who do like Best Friends Forever and This Is Not Fiction. Those two comics specifically, I was just like, I love this. I want to do this. I'm going to do it. And that's why I started Jamie
Okay.
finally. And so, yeah.
Mhm.
Too
It's
long
awesome.
didn't read. I can't write for crap, and I don't want to animate.
Yeah, but still, even beside that fact that you can't write, you're still technically a published author.
This is true,
Enough.
but I still only did the art.
Yeah, but yeah, that's cool. That thing, what was it? Little Women, but I don't. Was
Yeah, it
the
was Megjo, Beth, and Amy, so it's just named after the girls.
Mhm.
Modern
yeah.
rendition.
I haven't read that classic. Yeah, that
It's
must
okay.
have been a cool to do.
It was a big surprise. It was my first, basically for work project or for hire project. And I wasn't 100% familiar with the IP. I had seen a bit of it growing up because it was kind of forced on me at school.
Mhm.
But I got myself acquainted with it. I was like, oh yeah, definitely want to do something with this, and I'm just hoping that people who read it enjoy it. I mean, it's not going to be for everybody, but for those that it is for, it'll mean something.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that. For hire work, like I'm a queer mercenary.
No, but
No,
look
I'm
for
no, sorry, but I'm just imagining like a Fallout mod where with just a gay mercenary group.
That's how people treated it, though.
Yeah, no, it just seems like a fun idea. Oh god. I have a weird mind and I come up with weird things that when they are funny I make sure they are saved.
That's cool, dude. You do you. Live your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Dark? Sorry, or Cloud?
Cloud? Cloud?
so basically, I do look for a webcomic and stuff. It's the art first that grabs me. As much as like you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Like low key do sometimes, just because like for webcomics especially, just because if I can't get myself behind the art, how am I gonna like you know what like keep checking in just because the art for Jamie is what initially pulled me in.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like this looks adorable. Who is this little boy, and what is his story? What is his tale?
Well, that makes me happy
And
because this whole time I was concerned. Like, I've read that people, they're like, yeah, the art might be pretty, but if the story's whack, I'm not sticking around. And I'm sitting here just like, oh god, I'm sweating.
Yeah,
Especially for the first version, I was just like, how did people? I mean, I'm not gonna bomb on myself, but like, obviously, when you look back 4 years on your progress, you're just like, oh my god, how did anyone read this? But people liked it, and
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, but as a counter to and Dark Clouds and to Alex's statement, like for me, it's less about the art and it's mostly story about how much I can binge at a time mostly. So that's stuff like Rain, because even though the art is it's quite simple, but it's not simple enough that it just isn't grasping, but still like if it's a very basic art, it means that it can be pumped out quite faster. And like the more I get to read and the faster it progresses, for my artistic mind, it feels better.
Oh
Like
yeah, no, I get you.
yeah, because like if I browse a new comic to follow on like Smack Chiefs, if I see that that's like yeah, and this one like it updates every day, and I'm like, is it BL? Yes. Does it update every day? Yeah. Sold.
I feel you. I think I
uh,
fall kind of in the middle. Like it really just depends. Like if it's a genre that I really like, I will probably stick
Yeah.
around regardless of what the art looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, art does capture your eye. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Drawings.
Yeah.
But some
Yeah,
art
but of course,
comics.
as I said, as long as they are not just literal stick figures with different caps.
Hey man, sometimes that even works. I've seen really like I mean, what's it? Cyanide and Happiness. That's literally that. You know what I mean? They're like literally just a
Fair
stick
enough.
figure.
That's
Fair
animation.
enough.
But
Well, it wasn't
I'm
before.
happy.
yeah, but like imagine a comic with like really good gripping characters and all it is just like not even stylized stick figures, just normal stick figures.
I feel you, but I
2D.
mean,
That's
I think
just talking to each other, and it's like really good writing. It's not gonna happen, but it's like
Oh,
a little bit over that, and just have some kind of depths to it, and but it can still be pumped out quite quickly. That's would like be like the dream for me.
I feel you. But
if you
I
were
don't
around
wasn't
to,
I Cyanide and Happiness was a comic before it was an animation, wasn't it?
I think
Was
so.
it?
yeah, it
Right.
was. I've seen. Uh, there are certain comics that like for good art that I do read. Saying anyone's art style like they're not like uh like fully fleshed out looking people of anatomically correct bodies and stuff and like Sarah Scribbles is
I have at
good
least one with.
it's like
Yeah, well,
and,
okay.
and stuff like that it can be pretty good like stick figure fights used to be like a huge thing on the internet
True.
when I was younger would want to watch.
I think they're still
Oh,
quite
we got a new
popular
follower.
when it comes
Hey.
to, especially when it comes to animation. Stick figures are the way to go sometimes. But in
They're
terms
so simple.
of appealing, I rather have your style NDGO instead of stick figures.
Yeah, but like for sake of argument, I'm not talking like stick figures. Maybe like a step above or slightly below, like Rain level.
I mean, like
Alex will know
there's
what I'm talking about. Rain, like the art style can be quite simple. It's not really that much of
I mean,
shadows. It's
like
very.
particular about stick figures, then like look no further than the animation series known as Dick Figures, and like
Dick
that
figure.
was huge. That was huge. And
Yes.
it's just stick figure guys. One's blue, one's red. Red has a cap, and it's just like two guys with stick figures, just like roommates. I think they were, and they were just one was a terrible person, and one was like a really nice guy.
I think so. Yeah.
And they
And
quiche.
that was huge anime. In fact, Ninja Sex Party did the theme song for the movie.
Oh yeah.
Right, a movie.
The movie.
Whoa.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, God.
Cloud, how many questions do you have left for NDGO?
I have like, oh man, we've been going. I have like, actually, only one.
Only one. Oh, that's exactly in time.
My last one was the.
The question?
What is your most fun memory you have of making Jamie?
Fire.
I cannot hear you right
You guys hear me?
No, I can't either.
What? Again? Hello?
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 I can see you pop up, but I cannot hear you, NDGO.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can hear you now.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, it's really odd. I had my Wi-Fi because I'm on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
My Wi-Fi doesn't allow my sound to come through, but my LG does. So okay, I guess we're sticking with
Okay.
that. Very weird. So this is probably why I was trying to interject in the conversation and no one heard me.
Mm.
No, it's okay. I was just like, I'm just not very strong at talking right now.
Okay.
I think, okay, I'm gonna skip past what I was gonna say on the whole topic of style, but I was gonna say thank you to Barb because I heard you compliment and I wanted to say thank you. But when it comes to the memory, the words I can't do right now. Hold up.
Font memory.
I guess I just mostly, fondest memory. I'm just like blah blah blah. So
Oh,
my
wait,
most
real
fondest
quickly.
memory of
Real quick,
Mhm.
Stoneheart Magic Brain just commented saying like he just read some of it and it's amazing.
Oh,
All
thank you
captains.
so much, sweetie. Oh, I'm all giddy. Thank you. I guess that's really what it comes down to is like the thing I look forward to every week is seeing how the page is received and to
Mhm.
seeing how people like it. I mean, granted, I should be able to create my story for myself
Mm-hmm.
and have the same reward, but I mean, obviously we're humans, we're social creatures, we like when we're validated.
True.
And it's nice to feel like, oh, all my hard work is good. People, when I know like, oh, next week is gonna be an update, people are gonna love or they're gonna really hate her or they're gonna hate him in this episode, and I can't wait to see the snark and I can't wait to defend it. And I don't know, it's like a high. But I don't know, that's what it's all worth it for me. I think I would still create the story if no one read it, but because it's already all in my head, I would be very slow about getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
So
Um,
I hope that answered the question. Sorry.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I actually can relate to that a lot with this podcast series I'm making that we're doing right now. But unfortunately, as much as people do actually watch us and do like and on here, I don't get a lot of feedback at all because like no one has commented on any of our videos.
Oh yeah, because there's one thing like that people. Yeah, but okay, because there's like one thing that is when people talk about how yeah that community is real. Yeah, that YouTubers fans, they will attack you all in the comments and all like that. What most people don't realize when it comes to like economics and anything really is that most people don't really do the things. It's more or less when like people like vote on polls and stuff. People actually do the thing. They're very. It's very much talk of a vocal
No idea what
minority
you're.
and a silent
Oh,
majority. And
So
we
you mean
very
like
much
the
have
interaction?
such a small that we don't even have the percentage to get that vocal minority yet, so the feedback is gonna be slow.
Yeah, yeah, I get you 100%. I mean, it's
Mhm.
definitely something that'll skew your perception of like
Mhm.
your
Yeah,
reach.
but hopefully, if you give us a shout on the next page,
Yeah.
or something, because you have, I'm just gonna stress this because I don't know if you even, but on Tapas you have 1.8 million views.
On my old comic, only like a fourth of them came over to the.
No, but still, that's a
I mean,
huge
not no.
number.
I'm not trying to undo. I'm not trying to say, oh, I have no. No, I appreciate every single person that's there, and I will. I'll give a shout out.
Yes, and that's hopefully gonna help us.
Yeah, I
Just,
mean, it's
yeah.
like okay, like for example, like okay, I have 1.4 million views on the old comic, and a tiny percentage of that moved over, and then I have maybe like 10 super fans, and I know them so personally at this point. You know what I mean? Uh, and so I do hope that your audience grows further, especially because you can't grow literally you can't grow your skill without feedback.
Mhm.
That's the whole point of critique in school and stuff like that. You're gonna exist in your own vacuum, like little bubble, and you don't know doing this could help me, reach out further, and so it's a symbiotic relationship eventually.
Mhm.
So long
It,
as you don't let the negativity affect you more than the positive. So sorry, I ramble.
No,
no,
it's
it's
okay.
so and all that is like the most the best part so far of all of it honestly been
And
um
now I'm back.
has
Sorry.
honestly been like being able to meet these people
What
and
did
like
I
you
miss?
or Jupiter and like some other and like Zeph meeting the person he actually does editing for on a webcomic. Cool to since I have like a podcast I can like when I go to I would have been way too nervous to even speak to before. I
Mhm.
could just be like, "Hey, like I do this thing. Would you like to be a part of it?" And by that, people respond. Um, to meet them just because it makes me feel just like they're just people, man. It really like hammers that home. Uh, someone that I admire is just like just a normal person
Oh, oh,
that I do, but
idols
different.
and that kind of stuff. When they like you meet someone on an online forum, it's like a voice actor of a series that you really and like. I actually did this once, and like it really yeah kind of bothered. Not really the person, but kind of more or less.
Mhm.
Just have to get past the initial freak out, and it just as long as you
Shut
handle that initial freak out well, you will just then realize, oh wait, no, that this isn't. This is still the same person that is super amazing, but they are still just a person. It's and
Less
you yeah, it's
idolized,
just
more
yeah,
structured.
after the initial freak out, you just start to relax. And about that, yeah, how yeah, through people's connections that we have gotten people like Mary and the cats right now. In the I work for her as the
Editor?
no, I'm not the editor. I'm the I'm the no, I'm not the spell checker. I'm the proofreader for her comic Iconoclasm.
yeah.
There we go.
You
Yeah.
did it. You found the word.
We got there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's actually
it's
one thing that
okay.
really bothers me with my autism is that I sometimes, when it comes to a descriptive word, that I forget it, and I will, and it's like a tradition that I always have to spend a lot of time thinking of what that word was.
Also,
no
like,
worries.
you
I
have
get
that-
there too. It's fine. Like I, half
Yeah,
of
but
I
that's
was writing down some of my
something that
responses.
really bothers me. But again, yeah. So I started yeah, just telling her that yeah, you spelled that wrong on commenting on the pages, and she was like, oh, thanks, and then she corrected them, and I was like, wait, I'm actually having a effect on the comic, and that was like,
Yeah.
and then I started doing it a bit more, and then I actually sent her a DM correcting the whole first chapter,
Wow.
and then it just spiraled out of control, and now yeah, and now it's
I mean, that's what you get.
and then all I had to do then was just to ask if she wanted to do this, and we're hopefully getting there soon
it's
to do a episode with her.
very impressive because like he's Swedish or like, and so he's just, to me it blows me away how good you are at spelling, just because you live in a country that doesn't even natively speak the language I speak.
90% of of the Swedish people speak fluently English.
Yeah, I
Same.
think Americans are the only ones that think we're the center of the universe and only speak English. Ugh, I don't speak any other
yeah.
language. I
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah. Again, being a bilingual can suck when you have mind gaps, but normally. Yeah, but again, yeah. For me, it's mostly because I'm autistic and that I have Asperger's syndrome, and that kind of helps me work around and fit very well with systems and can really see when that system is broken. And like grammatics, that's something that I kind of thrive in if I know the rules well. And that's also one kind of thing because English is like one of the worst languages when it comes to rules because it breaks its own the whole time. Like again, it's a mix of
Our language,
it's a mix of French. It's a mix of French, the Celtic languages. It's of Germanic
It's a
from
melting pot.
from
That's America, baby.
from the Norse, from and then from Latin, from oh god, it just and therefore it corrects itself a lot. It's like here it doesn't have a vocal crash, and here it's just fine. It's just
Mhm.
caddies.
oh,
Everyone.
I think it's about time
Yeah.
to wrap up the podcast.
Yes.
All right. It was
Out to the person that's in the comments, just be say that we are awesome and that he wants us to grow, and that's really nice of him. So thank you, sir, or
Yes.
madam, or whoever you choose to be.
Thank you, person.
But thank you so much for coming on, Indigo. It was really cool to have you.
my pleasure. You guys are a lot of fun, and it was great having conversation.
Yeah,
You were too.
and we yeah. So like a YouTube, and we have a Twitter that I manage, and this is where we normally do it live. But if you want to see our other stuff, our YouTube channel has most of our videos up there. This one will be posted either later today or tomorrow, depending on how my internet is, because this thing takes about 2 hours sometimes to post.
Yes.
So,
Oh man, yay, video editing. I do
yeah,
not.
I know, right?
admire
No, but also don't forget to check out the comic Jamie if you have not, whether you're watching this live or later in life. Um, pretty much it. I very much look forward to your new update on Friday, and
Mhm.
it was a good
I look-
podcasting.
I hope you guys
I
enjoy.
look forward to the new influx of people from the shout out. I'm such an attention whore.
Aren't we all?
All right. Anything more to say before the stream ends?
No, thank you everyone for watching, for following, because we have a
Thank
couple
you.
of new followers. Thank you, Indigo, for replying to every question you got thrown at you, basically. Uh, it was really
I
fun
just
to
hope I
talk to
answered
you.
them well.
It was
Alright.
really nice. Thank you everyone for joining the stream. I will end the stream in 3, 2, 1. Bye bye.